VAR makes its mark in the Champions League. Spurs sweep Dortmund aside. Mauro Icardi fuels talk of a transfer. Declan Rice causes some international controversy. And of course, there's a few transfer rumours knocking about. That and more coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host, Matt Froelich. You are the Onefootballers and this is the Daily News. First off, and to last night's Champions League action where VAR more than made its mark in the game between Ajax and Real Madrid. Now, for those of you who didn't see it, basically Ajax took the lead just before half-time with a headed goal from Tagliafico. However, it was given offside due to Dusan Tadic's involvement in the goal. Here's what happened. Basically, Matthijs de Ligt headed the ball from a corner. Timo made a bit of a mess of it, spinning the ball up into the air. And as Tagliafico headed it over the Real Madrid goalkeeper, Tadic kind of backed in to Courtois to stop him from getting the ball. And he was doing so from an offside position. However, this is where I think it's kind of harsh. It was the fact that Courtois was nowhere near the ball. He was reaching forward but never going to get it. So even though his attempts were in vain, Tagliafico just nodded the ball over his head. This then went to VAR, the referee did his thing, ran over and then officially gave it as offside and ruled out what definitely would have been a deserved goal for Ajax. That kind of affected them, and during the rest of the game, especially the second half, they weren't as good, and Real Madrid eventually won 2-1 thanks to a Marco Asensio goal. This means that Ajax face a massive task in the Bernabeu in a few weeks' time to overturn the tie and progress through to the quarter-finals. And talking of an impossible task, that is exactly what Borussia Dortmund face if they are to also progress to the quarter-finals after being smashed 3-0 by Tottenham last night. Now, for those of you who watched the game, you'll know that the first half was pretty uninspiring and not much happened. However, in the second half, Spurs really asserted their dominance. Now, I'm not just talking about with the ball where they were quick and passed forward really well, especially with the wing-backs, Aurier and Vertonghen doing so well, but it was their physical dominance which really made the difference. The front three for Dortmund of Pulisic, Götze and Sancho literally looked like boys against men. The back three of Spurs and the deep line midfielder Moussa Sissoko and Harry Winks were just too physically overpowering and literally swallowed them whole. This sentiment was echoed by Borussia Dortmund goalkeeper Roman Bürki, who said the same thing, but maybe just not in those words. After the game, he said that Dortmund really lacked a physical striker up top who could hold onto the ball. This was clearly obvious that every time it went forward, Spurs just won the ball back. But even without Marco Reus and Paco Alcacer on the Dortmund side, would they have done any better? They're kind of similar players to the likes of Sancho and Götze. Of course, Reus is far better and is one of the best players on the Dortmund team. However, even against those three defenders from Spurs, I'm not sure he would have managed. The same thing could be said for Spurs though, as they didn't have Kane and Ali. However, they did make the most of their dominance, with Heung-min Son having a fantastic game yet again. He's now scored 4 in 4 since returning from the Asian Cup. The real star of the game, though, was Spurs left-back Jan Vertonghen, who was playing in a wing-back role quite unfamiliar to him. He has played at left-back and centre-back for most of his career, but from the wing-back position, he managed to get forward, get an assist, and bag his first ever Champions League goal to round off a fantastic night for Spurs. As for the Bundesliga leaders, though, they've now conceded 9 goals in the last 3 games. They conceded 3 goals as they went out of the German Cup, 3 goals again at the weekend as they slipped up and Bayern Munich crept ever closer to them, and now it looks like they may be heading out of the Champions League. But next up, into some controversy at Inter Milan, which will certainly prick up the ears of all the biggest clubs in Europe who are hoping to sign Mauro Icardi. Yesterday, after loads of rumours were swirling about discontent between him and the rest of the Inter Milan squad, Icardi was stripped of the captaincy and it was handed to Samir Handanovic, the goalkeeper, and refused to travel on the plane to Vienna, where tonight Inter Milan start their Europa League campaign in the round of 32. This has basically all been fueled yet again by his wife and agent Wanda Icardi. She said that Icardi had a personal problem with Ivan Perisic, who then said that Icardi's wife shouldn't be talking about him on a TV show, of all places to go and talk about such a precious situation inside your club. And now it seems that the whole of the club, including the board, have sided not with Mauro Icardi. They've stripped him of the captaincy, as I said, and coach Luciano Spalletti has come out and said that they've sided with the rest of the team. This pretty much means that their talisman and main goal scorer looks to be left out of the squad, not only for tonight, but potentially for a few upcoming Serie A games. And as for his future, I'm going to put my money on him definitely leaving in the summer. But where do you guys think he will go to? My hunch is that Real Madrid will come in with a big offer for him, and potentially Manchester City. Now, I know they've got Sergio Aguero up front, but with him entering his early 30s, they could do no worse than signing Icardi to replace him in the long term. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below, of course, as always. And moving on to our next piece of news, where Declan Rice has caused a massive controversy by pledging his allegiance to play for the England national team, not the Irish national team. Rice is London born and bred and currently plays for West Ham. However, since the age of 16, has played for the Irish national teams thanks to his grandparents coming from Ireland. He even made 3 senior appearances for the first team squad. However, they were only in friendlies and not a competitive game. Now, according to FIFA rules, you can switch your allegiance if you haven't played in a competitive fixture, which of course friendlies are not. Meaning that yesterday Rice made the decision to play for England instead. Now, from an outsider's point of view, you can understand why he did it. England have far more chance of not only reaching international tournaments, but getting further than Ireland do. That's not throwing any shade in Ireland, they're just not as good as England are. However, you can kind of see why the Irish are a bit annoyed at it, because he's changed allegiances to what effectively is a big rival. This has led to many former players and pundits saying that it's actually pretty ridiculous that he's allowed to switch sides. However, these are the rules. If the rules were in place and they somehow helped Ireland and didn't help England, I'm sure you'd have loads of English pundits complaining the other way. This is what happens. Declan Rice has made his decision and both sides need to just get on with it. And lastly but not least, we come to a roundup of the day's transfer news. And of course, you guys know the transfer window is closed, but rumours are still swirling ahead of some potential moves in the summer. First off, Manchester United and Chelsea may do battle for Barcelona's Ivan Rakitic for around 57 million. Wolves are ready to meet Benfica's £30 million price tag for their on-loan striker Raul Jimenez. Both Naby Keita and Sadio Mane are both trying to tempt Timo Werner to join Liverpool from RB Leipzig in the summer, and Manchester City look to be leading the race to sign Lyon midfielder Tanguy Ndombele. So that's all from me for today. Make sure you smash the like button down below and let me know in the comment section all of your thoughts on today's daily news. Can Ajax turn it around? Were Real Madrid lucky? Can Dortmund progress through after that 3-0 drubbing? And what do you make of all the controversy of switching national allegiances? Of course, you can also click here or here to check out all of the other videos that we've got going on Onefootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.